Hilchos Mechira, chapter 25. Aleph, HaMechid Dov Shishli Tashmishin Le'mocher Es HaTashmish Elim Kain Pedish. When a person sells something which is called Tashmishin, which we're going to learn in a second what that means, he does not sell, let's say you sell a house, you don't sell the Tashmishin unless you explicitly state it. Now, Rambam says, Kate said, how so? Person sold the house, he did not sell the patio around the house, even though it opens to the house. That's what Ramonim. When do we say this? When the patio is 4 amos or wide, or more. It's more or less than that, it's part of the house. A loft that is above the house and that opens through an opening in the ceiling of the house is considered to be part of the house. When the person sells a house, he's not included in the room that is located behind the house at the sale. Even if it's included in the external borders of the property. Also not a roof that has a guardrail of 4 by 10. Does not include a water receptacle hollowed out on the ground or a cistern that is built within a pit projected above the ground, even when he sold them the height and the depth of the property, as we explained. Gimel, the seller has to buy a path from the purchaser in order to gain access to the water receptacle of the cistern that he retained. When a person sells property, he sells it generously. If at the time of the sale, the seller tells the purchaser, I'm selling you the house with the exception of the water receptacle of the cistern, so then he does not have to buy a path to the cistern. When a person purchases a water receptacle or a cistern alone, the purchaser does not have to purchase a path. Instead, he may enter the seller's house and proceed as far as the cistern and fill the container. There are 2 rooms, one inside the other. One sold them to 2 separate people, or gave them to 2 separate people. Neither of them has the right to make a path through the other properties. Needs to say this applies if the original owner gave the external room away and then sold the inner one. However, he sold the outer room and gave away the inner room, the recipient of the inner room has the right to make a path for himself through the outer room. As far as that, a person is more generous when he gives than when he sells. When a person sells a house, he sells the oven, the range, the door frames that are attached with the mortar, the door, the beam, the lock, and the key, but not the key. He also sells the mill that is permanently affixed to the ground, but not one that is movable. He sells the wooden base. He sells, the mill that is permanently affixed to the ground. But not the container in which the floor descends. Nor does he sell the blocks of the feet or bed, nor the window frames, even though they are fixed to the mortar, for they intended for decoration. If he says, I'm selling you the house and all its contents, they are above, everything is sold. When a person sells a courtyard, he includes in the sale any water reservoirs. So first of all, when he sells a courtyard, as we said, it includes the water reservoirs, the vault, the cellars that are located in it, and all the outer and inner buildings, the buildings that contain sand and the stores that are open in it. The stores that do not open it are not included in the sale. If stores open both inside and outside the courtyard, the following Blacha applies. If the majority of the activity performed within them is performed within the courtyard, they are including the sale. If not, they are including the sale. Movable property located in the courtyard is not including the sale. Needless to say, so first, when the seller sells, that he's selling the courtyard and all its contents, all above are also sold. Regardless of what he said, a bathhouse and olive press located within the lid are not sold. Zayin Amechas Abayis Abad, a space Abad, Machar Sa'ev, when a person sells an olive press, he includes in it the sale, the large stone, and it's fixed into the ground, upon which the olives are ground. Cedar beams that are used for support the olives are being ground. Storage reservoirs, the storage containers in which the crushed olives are placed. These are called meforkas, but not the sale of the upper millstone. When he says he's selling the olive press and all of its contents, they're all sold. Regardless of what he says, the blocks that are used to press the olives, the things that rotates the stone, the beam, the sacks, and the leather sacks that are used to press are not sold. When the seller says, I'm selling you an olive press and all its accessories, all the above are sold. If there are stores outside the olive press where the olives or sesame seeds are spread out, if when the seller draws through the external boundaries including all of these, if not, the purchaser acquires only what is inside the building of the press itself. Based on the when a person sells a bathhouse, including the sale, is the plank room where people sit while they are arumim. The storehouses of the container which the water is placed. The room where the benches in the corner of the bathhouse where people sit they are closed. And also the towel room which they dry themselves. Not including the sale are the planks, the water containers, the benches, and the towels themselves. When the seller says that he's selling the bathhouse and all its contents, all the brothers sold. Regardless of what he said, it does not include in the sale of the pools provided one in the bathhouse in the summer and in the winter, and not the lumber shed where the wood is stored. If the seller says, I'm selling you the bathhouse and all its accessories, so they're all sold, even though they're located outside the bathhouse itself. Hilchos Mechira Perek Chof Vav, chapter 26. Alaf Hamecher Sa'ir Mocher Bottom Uboris Shichen Moris Umerchatzis Shivochas Ubeis Abadim Ubeis Shlochem Shabbat Asmuchalo. When a person sells a town, including the sale are the homes, the water reservoirs, the vaults, the cellars, the bathhouses, the dovecotes, the olive presses, the aqueducts in the town and near the town, the wood that surrounded the town. This is the fields that are known to be part of the town. The pens for wild animals, the fish, the face of the town, even though they're distant from it. Not including the sale is the movable property the town contains. When the seller sells that he's selling the town and all the contents, so then the movable property are sold as well. Regardless of what he sells, it's not included in the sale fields that are not known to be part of town, the villages that surround it, the woods that are distant from it. And there's portion of seas, there's portion of the dry land, and not the pens of wild animals, fowl, and fish that do not face the town. Person sells a field, including the sale are the stones that support the fence, the stones that are placed on the sheaves. But they are necessary elements on the field. Also included in the sale are the reeds that are placed under the vines to support them, the grain, the grain that is attached to the ground, even though the time of harvest has come. He also placed where reeds grow that is less than the area that is sown the fourth of the saw, even though the reeds that grow there are thick and strong. He sells even the hut to the so he the hut for the watchman, which is made with mortar, even though it's not a permanent structure, a carob tree, even though the other trees have not yet been grafted upon it, a wild fig tree which has not been cut down, even though the trunks are thick, all the upon it contains. Place of Hashem Nochan Magabe. Monof Bishim Konos the Kabbalas, Akam Shim Shem Nochan Taksafonum, Albishim Mushupan Mukhalakam Mukhanam Kabbalas, at Huna Gorim Nakakaf Bishi Chivasala, but Mashram Malay, he Homasham Sek had a Kulmukhun. Now, the stones that are not structured to support the fence, and the stones that are not placed on the sheaves, even though they are prepared for these purposes, the reeds and the vigor that are not placed under the vines, even though they have been placed, made flat and prepared for this purpose, and the grain that has been uprooted from the ground, even though it still requires the field. The seller shows that he's selling the field, and all his contents there are sold also. Regardless of what the seller said, he does not include in the sale place where reeds grow that the size are necessary to sow forth of saw of grain. So it is not included in the sale place where reeds grow that is a size and an area necessary to sow forth of sow of grain, even though the reeds growing in the are thin and small. A small block of spices which are known, which is called the Soul's Rose Garden. The hut of watchman, which is not made with mortar, even though it is affixed to the ground. The mark has a charmork of a carob tree, which other trees have not been grafted. The sadness of Shigma and stumps of wild figs that have not been cut down, even though they are thin. The mark has a bar shabov the sagat for the sashim ben charam mishlamim. Nor is a water reservoir, a grape press, or a dope coat, whether completed or destroyed, including the sale. Seller must purchase from the purchaser a path in order to proceed to the water reservoir, grape press, or dope coats that are retained in the field. If the seller says, except for these, the field is sold with exception of these items, he does not have to purchase the path. Who's the seller? With regards to the seller, for the purchaser, should have explicitly stated that these entities are included in the sale. The guards person. So again, this is with regard to the seller. For the purchaser, should have explicitly stated that these entities are being included in the sale. Since they did not make such a statement, he does not receive it. When a person gives a present, or simply acquires all of the entities mentioned above, whether a field, a house, a court, or an olive fuss. The general rule is by karka, when a person gives landed property as a present, or simply acquires everything that is attached to it, unless the giver specifies otherwise. When brothers divide a Yerusha and one acquires a field, he acquires all the articles associated with the field. When a person takes possession of the property of a ger who dies, if he takes possession of the field, he acquires all of it. And when a person consecrates a field, he consecrates all the above. Zayin af in kol elo advarim kietz b'em yonim amorim elamakar she'en b'em minu l'shmois yidim l'chodor v'dor v'fnei atzmi. With regards to a seller and a purchaser, all the above concepts apply with regards to these matters only when there's not a fixed custom or known terms commonly used with regards to every individual article. Now, in a place where it's customary that a person that sells a particular entity includes in the sale other particular entities, these entities are included in the sale even if they're not mentioned explicitly. Rely on the cause of welcome, Ella bias, the bias, the bias, the bias, the whole sham. Place with the term house refers to the house alone, or that term house refers not only to the house but also to the surroundings and everything that is upon it. They follow the meaning common of the locale. Person sells a courtyard, a field, a town, or a movable property. With regards to everything, we follow the meaning of the term that is used by all of the local people. The clause with regards to all the matters of trade, we follow the commonly accepted meaning that term is used by people of that place and the local minute. When, however, there's no local business custom or commonly accepted meaning of terms, and instead one person will have this kavanah and the other with this kavanah, we follow the guidelines explained by the Chacham of these. Hilchos Mechira Perek 27. Aleph, Hameiches Asvina Machar Esatirin Vesanes Vesagonim Shalav Veskal Hamasaitin Anhigim Mesi. When a person sells a ship, including the sail are the mast, the sail is anchor, Veskal Hamasaitin Anhigim and the ropes used to stir it. They say the ramp and the ladders with one ascends to the ship and ascends to the lower deck, and the reservoir of drinking water that it contains. Not including the sail is the beitzis, the small boat in which one sails to land, or not the small boats, it's called a dugis, which sailors fish, and not the servants which work on the ship, and not the sacks of the merchandise, not the merchandise. When the seller tells the purchaser, I'm selling you a ship, and everything it contains, they're including the sale. When a person sells a carriage, he's not sold the mules if they're not attached to it. If a person sells a yoke, he does not sell the oxen. If he sells the oxen, he does not sell the yoke. So this applies even in a place where some people say oxen, they're referring to a yoke team. When a person sells a single yoke, he also sells the cow. When he sells the cow, it does not necessarily include the yoke. When he sells the wagon, he sells the oxen. When he sells the oxen, it does not sell the wagon. All these matters and the like, the price of the article is no proof of the kavanah of the seller. When a person sells a donkey, including in the sale are the saddle cloth and the saddle, even though they're not of the donkey. The saddlebags and the riding seats for women are not included in the sale, even though they are on the donkey at the time of the sale. Hey, the price paid for the article is not considered to be a proof of the seller's intent. The purchaser made a mistake with regards to the sum of the it's okay, no, so the halachas of no apply, and the transaction is nullified as the halachas with regards to any sale of bar. Now, if however they made a mistake greater than would make, it's not like that. They assume that the extra money is a present, and the purchaser gave the sale, and the purchaser receives. Or do not bring proof of the seller's intent for the price. When a person sells a maidservant, included in the sale are the garments she is wearing. Jewelry, let's say a bracelet, a nose ring, a finger ring, or a choker, worn around the neck are not included in the sale. But normally, the seller says, I'm now selling you a maidservant. Everything that is upon her, if she is wearing articles that are worth 100 mana, they're including the sale. Zayin, person tells a friend, I'm selling you a pregnant maidservant. I'm selling you a pregnant cow. So I'm selling you a pregnant pregnant cow. The fetus is sold together with the mother. Person says, I'm selling you a nursing maidservant. I'm selling you a nursing cow. The infant of the calf, where the calf is not included in the sale. Person tells a friend, I'm selling you a nursing donkey. The donkey colt is included in the sale because no one ever sells a donkey for its milk. Person tells a friend, I'm selling you the head of the servant, of the donkey, or of this donkey, half of the animal is included in the sale. Allah is applied with any organ in which life of the animal depends on. If the seller tells the purchaser, the servant, the form of this donkey is sold to you, so that an evaluation is made between them. Similar Allah applies with regards to any organ on which life of the animal does not depend. If he tells him, I'm selling you the head of the cow, only this head is included in the sale. The head of the cow is always being sold in butcher shops. If a person sells the head of a large animal, the feet are not included in the sale. If he sells the feet, the head is not included. If he sells the windpipe, the liver is not included sold. If he sells the liver, the windpipe is not sold. With regards to a small animal, however, different lachas apply. If a person sells the head, the feet are not included in the sale. If he sells the windpipe, the liver is sold. If he sells the liver, the windpipe is not sold. When a person sells a water reservoir, the water is not included in the sale. When he sells a garbage dump, the garbage is included in the sale. When he sells a via, the via are included in the sale. When he sells a dovko, the dovkos are included in the sale. Do not let the fundamental principles concerning these matters escape your eyes. And the accepted local customs and the customary accepted meanings of the terms in every particular entity. In a place there is no local custom defined, and a term does not have a specific meaning that excludes a more encompassing conception, would follow these principles that were explained by Chacham stated previously.